Hello, we are here with Megan Winkler, my guest today, and we're talking about how to sell with ease using the moon's cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're here with us, or if you're catching the replay later on, drop your favorite emoji below. Let us know that you're here. We'd love to chat with you. And if it's okay with you, Megan, I like to start my LinkedIn gatherings by pulling an oracle card for us.
Oh, I love it. Let's do it.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so I did pull a card before we got on, and I just asked, what does our audience need to hear from us today when we're talking about the moon cycle? And the card I pulled is called the Inner Temple.
Ooh.
Rebecca Campbell's cards are pretty well known. Okay, so this is what the Inner Temple says. So when I pull a card for our gatherings, it's really just helping us, guide us to make sure that we're getting the right messages, the things that we need to hear from our conversation today. So the Inner Temple says that you are being called to be a devoted student and tune into your heart, to incorporate true devotion into your life. You could be being called to develop a regular meditation, journaling, or chanting practice, or to show up to your soul with rhythm, and to develop a daily practice where you fill up your well and spend time with your soul. It says all the answers to all the questions that you seek are waiting for you in the portal of your heart, but you cannot hear them unless you carve out time each day to listen. So that's the main part I'm going to read. And what I love about this leads right into our conversation, Megan, because part of your lunar magic course is looking at our daily activities according to the moon.
Yeah.
So I'd love it if you could tell me a little bit about what you do as a good business witch, and then we'll go into the moon.
Excellent. I love it. Thank you so much again for having me. I love chatting with you. And of course, you pull a card before we get started. And from a deck that I have, I think it's behind me on the shelf. Yeah, as you said, though, I am the good business witch, and I bring spirituality and strategy to business, particularly when it comes to productivity and creating a system that aligns with your energy. So I don't like to use the word systems so much, because you say systems and people think Dubsado and ClickUp and all these things, which are great. The systems that I work with are our internal systems. So our natural cycles, our natural energy flows, and that ties into the solar seasons and the lunar seasons and the lunar months.
Yes, I absolutely love that you're bringing those natural cycles into what we do, because, you know, as you know, I'm just double checking that that people can actually see us on here. Okay. I was a little nervous. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
We're live somewhere.
We're live somewhere. Yes. For anybody watching, I did a live last week by myself, and it was all black screen. So I've got a little bit of anxiety there. Okay. So we are being able to be seen. If you're here with us live, let us know. Say hello in the comments. And, Megan here was just sharing that we get to use our natural cycles when it comes to selling and to developing our business and growing it. And, I believe that those cycles are just as important, if not more so, than Dubsado and ClickUp and all of the more masculine-based tools that we have. Lara's here. Hello. Welcome, Lara. So as you know, Megan, I coach on LinkedIn, and, being aligned with yourself as well. And there's feminine tools that we can use with our spirituality, and then there's masculine. Sure. And you are right that Dubsado, ClickUp are so important, but they're very masculine. I love that you bring in the cycle of the moon, the cycle of like our menstrual cycles and all those things into what you teach. And so why do you think using the moon for your sales cycle is a good strategy?
So for a number of reasons. One of them is because I am all about, kind of working with your menstrual cycle if you are someone who menstruates, but not everybody does. And the moon is a guiding force that has the same essential 28-day cycle that some of our bodies do. And so it's accessible to everyone, first off. And second off, if you start tuning into the natural rhythms of your body, you're going to notice, even if you are cis male, that like you go through phases too. And to do something a little more intentional with it, yes, there is that feminine aspect of the moon, like you were saying. And there's also the divine masculine aspect of a schedule and a cycle. Like our masculine energy can come into our business in a way that's not hard and fast and results oriented and all this stuff, like the hard KPIs and ROIs and all that. Like it can come in as a very gentle structure that allows movement and freedom within it. And so I find that the moon cycles are just a great way to blend that structure with that flow and make it accessible for everyone.
Yes, you're speaking my language. I'm just going to welcome Charlie and Cynthia. Hello, they're here on the live with us. Welcome. And feel free to ask questions. Hey, like our audience can ask questions. So if you have any, Megan and I are more than willing to answer. So yeah, what's interesting, I'll share a little story about how I got connected with you and the moon, right? So Megan and I met in a coffee chats club, and I was listening to one of her podcasts, and she was talking about selling by the moon. And I was like, I naturally sell on roughly a 4-week cycle. And that's how I coach my clients as well on LinkedIn, is to really just do 4 weeks at a time. We don't know the whole what's going to happen 6 months from now. We don't need to stress about everything that's going on. Let's just do 4 weeks at a time. And within that 4-week cycle, there's 1 week where I focus on really promoting your offer, really getting it out there in almost everything that you do, reaching out to clients. It's a really kind of a go hard week. And then after that, we get to wane down and do a little bit more connecting and reflecting and that kind of thing. When I listened to the podcast, I was like, I wonder if I've been accidentally following the moon. And so I immediately invested in Megan's course, which I will be dropping a link for this below. Megan has a really short, beautiful, like incredibly intuitive and informative course on following the moon cycles in sales. And I went through that course, Megan, and I have been following the moons pretty close by accident, except for when I've like forced myself to push, for sales because I thought I needed them or those kinds of things. And so that was just an incredible awareness of how connected I am to the earth. And I appreciate you for allowing me to bring this teaching into what I do now as well. So the offer week for LinkedIn line up with the new moon.
Yes. Well, and we were talking about like when to schedule this chat, and I was like, hey, let's do it that Thursday before the new moon. The new moon is on Monday, and that way folks can listen and they can jump in and start setting their intentions for their month and their sales cycle on Monday.
Yes. Like, so for anybody who's brand new to the moon, Megan, and you're talking about the new moon's coming Monday, setting intentions, what kind of questions should we be asking ourselves? And I know you have a checklist for this in your course. For anybody listening, this checklist itself is worth the investment. So what kind of things should we be asking and doing in the new moon when it comes to sales?
Absolutely. So with the new moon, it's the beginning of the moon cycle. And what is so cool is the moon is always doing this cycle. And so another benefit of working this way is if you go on vacation or if you kind of fall off the moon bus or whatever, you can always just say, okay, what moon phase are we at? Okay, that's what I can do. So the new moon is the perfect time to set intentions. It's the beginning of the moon cycle. So we really want to get clear on our goals and figure out like, how do you want to spend the next 4 weeks in your sales cycle? And it's really as simple as that. And I know a lot of people in kind of the woo space are like, oh, set intentions. The great thing about this is, yeah, we're going to set intentions, but then almost immediately start putting some action behind those.
Yes. We always have to have the aligned action, right? It's like the 7 steps of manifestation. It's like as soon as you just like visualize and it's going to happen. Now we got to take that action afterwards.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So could you give us an example of a time that you have maybe used the new moon? And like what kind of intentions do you set for your sales or even for your clients during the new moon?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big ones is to really start looking at who we want to bring in. So I recently did this with one of my clients, and she's looking for 5 women who are in that transition point in midlife, who they kind of feel like they're dying on the vine. Like they've succeeded in all the ways that we are supposed to succeed. And they're just like, but what else is there? There's more to this, right? And so we really sat down and we're like, okay, who does she look like? How does she work? Where does she work? What are the things that make her feel like she's dying on the vine? Like, what are the things that she wants to be doing? And we really dug into that, and it was just asking a lot of questions about that. So this is a great time to kind of figure out who you want to be selling to. Like, do you want to use the next 4 weeks to try a new platform? Like maybe you're just kind of passively on LinkedIn and you've been seeing Jade's posts and stuff, and you're like, you know what? This is the month. I'm going to do it. I'm going to dive in. It can be that simple.
Yes. Yeah. And, I love the simplicity of it. It doesn't have to be sell X amount of dollars. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be so many, it can be lots of different things. So I love that the example you brought forward was, who are we trying to attract? And for me, it's like, what kind of emotions am I trying to attract this month as well? Big part of the intentions for me. I'm not sure if it is for you, but how do I want to feel right now? Is it energy that I'm needing? Is it love? Is it like empowerment? Do I want to be on fire right now? Like, what is it that I want to feel? And just allowing the universe to bring me the things that'll help me feel that way, right? Giving that open space. Yeah. Exactly. And so so I'm trying to think what else to ask. So, and yes, anybody who's here live, feel free to ask questions. Megan and I are happy to answer. But yes, the new moon is a time for setting intentions, like you said, starting to reach out and do those offers. And for me, when we chat about what LinkedIn does, for me, this is a great time to set up your offer week, really. And so, we're looking at now reviewing what's going to happen. What do we want to feel? What do we want to track? What do we want to draw in? And for LinkedIn specifically, what offer are we focusing on? Who is it for? Right? And how do we find those people? And then coming into next week, if you're ready for it, that's the great week to have your offer week. And offer week really is almost every day openly sharing your offer and coming at it from a place of, I've asked the universe to send me who needs this. Now I'm going to show them what the answers to their problems, right? Their solutions. It's not about, I'm going to sell so hard and I got to make X amount of dollars. It's like, how much impact can I make with the people that I have intentionally asked for to come to my door during the new year? Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I just got tingles.
Right? And so it's just a great time. And then there's the behind the scenes stuff. We won't go into all that today, but of course there's the DMing and the reaching out. There's so much community that you can build around sales as well.
Sure.
Okay. So I guess we've talked a lot about the new moon because the new moon is coming out. And I'm curious if you'd be willing to give us just a little, like a brief overview of what happens after the new moon. Because then we've got the waxing moon, right? Goes into the full and then the waning. So kind of how does things shift for you in that process?
For sure. So one of the ways that I remember the major moon phases is kind of the Karate Kid thing, wax on. And then I remind myself, wane off. And and like, if you know about energy, like you understand the energy waning thing. So it's going away. So during the waxing moon, and that's the crescent, the first quarter moon and the waxing gibbous moon. So you can really break it down if you want to. But during that period of time, that's where you're really going to start acting on the intentions. So, right after the new moon, it's a great time to say, okay, you've said, who do I want to attract? And it's like, how am I going to do it? Right. So you're going to do DMs or you're going to reach out to people that, you're super curious about on LinkedIn or Instagram or wherever. Right. And so throughout this whole period, you are doing your outreach, you're making your offer, you're reaching out to people who have said, let me know when that launches because I'm interested. Like that's the time to really be doing it because they're going to be feeling this energy of action and determination, and they want to be laying their roots as well because like we're all impacted by the moon. So they're going to be more likely to respond during this time as well.
Yes. Yeah. Right, because the moon affects us all, the whole planet, right? All of us as a population. Right. So that's the beauty of it, is following along what everybody else is doing as well. Okay, so we've got the new moon, we're setting our intentions, we're attracting who we want to bring in, maybe how much we want to make, like how much of an impact we want, the emotions we want to feel. And then we're waxing on. I love that. I love that metaphor. We're waxing on and we're really turning on our power, empowering ourselves to sell. Okay, awesome. So now, as we're waxing, the full moon is here. Yeah. How would you shift again now that the full moon has arrived?
So the full moon, there's a couple of different takes on what to do with the full moon. I'm of the belief that the full moon is the time of harvesting and excitement and celebration. It's the moon at its highest point in power. So really it's us at our highest point in power as well. So the full moon, I love to give like a little extra push, a little extra, if you feel a little weird about, should I nudge them again? Yeah, go ahead and nudge them, because they're going to be in this celebratory mood as well. And so it's a time to also kind of look at the previous couple of weeks and say, hey, this was awesome. And I did this really well. And even if it's something like in my offer week, I posted about it and reached out to people 5 days that week. That was my goal. I did it. I'm good to go. And so we don't really want to release anything or reassess anything until we move into the waning moon phases afterward. So then this is like the moon kind of coming down to its dimmest, and it's getting ready to go to the new moon again. So now we want to release things. We want to look at what didn't work, because sometimes we try something and it doesn't work. We want to look at things that did work. Like maybe there's some things that we want to try next month that we really believe like that type of outreach is going to work for me. I just need to practice it more. And we're just going to kind of reassess things. This is a time for a lot of self-compassion. So if you didn't hit your goals, it's okay. And it's a time to just kind of look at things and say, okay, so now that I've done this, I've set my intentions, I put my action behind it. I really like looked at my achievements. Now, what are the lessons that I learned and how can I apply this at the next new moon? And a great way to do this is at the next new moon, set the same type of intentions or intentions for the same results and just kind of refine that process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad you added that part, because if we reset everything we're doing every 4 weeks, we never give it an opportunity to really work.
Right.
And it could be, that's really common, particularly with my clients on LinkedIn. It's just like, oh, that offer didn't go well, or that, promotion didn't go well. I'm going to change it up the next month. So I like that you're talking about, during the full moon, we're still selling, we're still reaching out, we're still building that. And then as it's waning, it's just like, what went really well? And, to tie it back to the emotions that we talked about at the beginning, for me, really well isn't just the analytics or just the numbers. It's also, how did you feel? Doing it, right? Because if you hated every second of it, to me, it didn't work well.
Right. I agree.
Right? You gotta have that joy and that flow. So that's what I coach my clients through, is how do things really feel for you? Where did you feel that in your body? And then, so I just love that whole process. For anybody joining us, definitely pop in and say hi. Just a little quick recap of what Megan and I have covered here so far is looking at selling by the moon cycle, using the moon's energy, having ease with that. We're starting with the new moon, which is coming up on Monday. That's when you set your intentions. You look at what you're trying to attract in. And we move into the waxing moon after that, where we're, as Megan says, we're waxing on. We're figuring out how to empower ourselves to really sell and to do well with our offer and our goals. Yeah. And the full moon comes, and you want to take over from here, Megan?
Yeah, we are celebrating our achievements. We're celebrating the things that went well. And even if it's like you didn't make any sales this 2 weeks, because really, if you think about it, like 2 weeks is not a long period of time to be selling something. What did you do that was great? Like, where were you consistent? What was really hitting home? What posts were getting a lot of engagement? Like, keep going from there. And then in the waning moon phases, as we get back to that new moon, that dark moon, we're looking at what lessons were learned. This is also, by the way, a really great time to follow up with people a little more gently. Just be like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a couple weeks. Just want to see if you were still looking at this. Can I answer any questions for you? That sort of thing. So no hard push, nothing like that, but just kind of hitting those touch points and practicing self-compassion for anything that didn't work, and kind of be thinking about how you want to modify your intentions for the next new moon. And yeah, like hopefully, like you were saying, Jade, like keep selling what you were selling. Don't switch it up yet. Give it time. Like really, I mean, if you think about it, like the year is split into quarters, right? 3, 3, 3. Like give it 3 months and see what happens, and then switch it up, or do a new offer, that sort of thing. But sometimes your people need to see things a lot. Like I think, what is it, like 7 to 15 times at this point is the metric?
Yeah. Last I looked, it's an average of 12 times, because we're just being inundated with information now.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on there.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of why the DMs is part of my new moon and my waxing phase, right? So I can get a lot closer to people. So we're not just another, random post on LinkedIn. Yeah. But Cynthia's popping in with a question here. Yes. Got Cynthia Davidson. We're happy to have you, Cynthia. Her question for you is, what are your favorite moon planners or journals to support you in selling by the moon?
Ooh, well, I am still trying to find that actually. I'm not terribly excited about any of them. So, a little secret, I'm creating one. So, and I will say what's great is if you get any sort of planner that has astrological events in it, it will show you those moon phases. And so you can kind of modify things as you need to.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I was excited to hear your answer, Megan, because I haven't found anything that I've super
I
loved.
haven't found one that I really like.
Yeah, no, yeah, so for me right now, Cynthia, I'm not really using a journal specifically for this. It's more, I just have a note in my ClickUp as well as in my Google Calendar to say, hey, the new moon's coming, like it's time to, plan the next cycle. When I'm looking at planning my schedule, like my LinkedIn content, I'm following that as well, but no specific journal because they all kind of suck.
They do. Well, and I can see you've got a calendar on your wall, and I've got one here, and I've got my moons labeled. So I'm continually looking at it. But yeah, I mean, we just got to create something. It's just
I'm excited to see what you create.
Yeah.
What's cool, but once you create one, like I think it's awesome that you have it on your wall. Didn't even think about adding that to mine.
Yeah.
Is being able to see the whole big picture, right? So we're looking at, you're talking about per quarter. You'll know every quarter already when you're going to be really promoting some things and when you're going to be taking a step back. And planning, you can plan other things in your life around this. It's not just sales, right? So it's like going on vacation during the best energy for sales might not be, if you could do it the week after, do that. Take that time when the moon is waning off to go on the vacation and to recharge and to really look at that.
Yeah.
And I wish our school system would follow this so my kids would also follow it and not be, what I'm supposed to be selling. But no, good question, Cynthia. And if you're on Megan's newsletter list, or if not, reach out to her because I'm sure she will share with her audience when her journal is ready to go.
Oh, for sure.
I will be sharing Megan's course with everybody here. I can't remember how much. Oh, it's only $27, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. It's only $27 for Megan's course. It's an incredible, incredible course that walks you through all of this, like the 4 parts of the moon in depth. Megan also goes into the sister signs of the moon and what those mean for you when you're selling, and also what to track. So what questions to ask when you're setting your intention, how to track those. I thoroughly enjoyed the course. It's one of the few that I actually invested in.
And it's short too. So it's not, there's not weeks going on here. You can do it in like an hour and a half.
Yes. It's very, very short, which is super powerful because then it actually feels doable. I actually completed it when my daughter was in horse riding lessons.
Awesome.
Between getting it set up and going to lessons, it's about 2 hours. And so I got the whole course done and I literally walked away with an empowerment to follow the Earth's energies. And it's been really powerful. So I absolutely recommend anybody here to get it. Since it's only $27, it's totally worth it. Cynthia here says, thank you so much to both of you. She has also tried so many new journals and she's now leaning mainly on the digital calendar. And then she said she'd love to know when your planner is ready, Megan.
Yeah, definitely.
So now I've got some accountability for Megan. The journal must get created. We are looking for it. And I think would be so neat from you creating that journal specifically, Megan, is that you're also a business coach. And so you're very business focused. So there could be sections within that journal that, to be business based. Because that's a million times harder is finding the astrology-based journals and materials that also line up with business.
Exactly. And I think that's why I haven't found one that I really love, because there's certain things that we do want to do or don't want to do during the larger calendar, like during Mercury retrograde. There's certain things that maybe we want to spend more time doing or want to avoid for a couple of weeks. So
yeah. For anybody who doesn't know what the Mercury retrograde is, do you want to give a little quick?
Oh, sure. So anytime all of our planets go in retrograde, and what that means is if we were to look at them through a telescope in the sky, because of the rotation of the Earth, it looks like the planet is going backwards. It's kind of like when you're on a highway and you start going just faster enough, like next to an 18-wheeler, where it doesn't look like you're moving, but it looks like they're going backwards. That's literally what's happening with the planets. And so Mercury is in charge of communication. I love that we're doing this on a Wednesday because, we're not on a Wednesday. We're on a Thursday. Never mind. Wednesday is the communication day. It's fine. But Mercury's in charge of communication. And so when it's in retrograde, things can get a little confusing. So your communication devices can break down. Mercury is also in charge of travel, so there can be some travel delays, that sort of thing. And so it's just one of those times when you want to reread your emails before you send them, because they could be perceived as a little short and you don't mean it that way. Or you want to like really make sure to read contracts. I mean, you should always be reading contracts, but like really make sure you understand, because there's just some confusion that happens during that time. So I look forward to helping folks kind of work with all the retrogrades and understand that things might feel a little different or maybe a little wacky for them in their business, because the stars are doing their thing.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's good. I didn't know what Mercury retrograde was for a long time. Yeah. And once I started to understand it and learn more, I was like, holy shit, like so many things make sense. Like you suddenly don't feel like a lunatic. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. The Earth's energy is literally like Mercury's energy, like the whole universe.
Yeah.
Right now.
Exactly.
So, and I think that, in kind of getting ready to close this circle, if anybody has any questions, let us know. But just in closing is that's really why I want to bring you on, Megan, is because when you're in business, we're fighting against a lot already, right? Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of competitors. We're trying to figure out what we're doing. Entrepreneurship is one of the deepest self-discovery journeys you'll ever go on, right? We've got so much going on. And so by following the moon cycle like you do and the energies of that, you're finally stepping into some flow. Like there's some flow somewhere. And that's what I like. I love that you've got the structure. We've got a system. We have a cycle. We have a plan. Yeah. But there's so much flow within this and the beautiful feminine energy of sales. And that's what I really love about you and what you bring to the table and the moon in general, like following the moon phases. So for anybody here, if you're here catching the replay, because we are closing the circle, let us know, #replay. I will pop off here and share Megan's course. So it's called Lunar Sales Magic. It's short, very brief, but also very comprehensive. You walk away with a lot of resources. Like Megan said, 2 hours, and you're in and out learning how to follow the Earth's energy for sales. It's incredible. So I'll share that. I will also share my free intuitive LinkedIn guide, which is a guide that will walk you through how to be intuitive with your LinkedIn process, starting with your profile all the way through to sales, which you can now merge with Megan's information and do your sales during the new moon. We have one last question from Cynthia. We'll sneak this one in. Cynthia says, does your course discuss the void moons and any impact from loss of energy?
It discusses a little bit of the loss of energy. It does not talk about any void, of course, moons, because I wanted to keep it straightforward and simple. So that'll be for other things, perhaps the journal.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Megan. Oh, sorry, Jeff. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming and spending this half hour with all of us. We're so grateful to you. And thank you to everybody who showed up live. Lara, Charlie, Cynthia, Tamazade. Like, we've got some great questions here. And I really enjoyed this circle, this gathering together today. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody invest in your course and start growing with the moon's energy.
Thank you so much, Jade. This has been so much fun. And I can't wait to see how people, I really want everyone watching this to come back and let us know how they merge the two, because I think that is just so powerful.
Yes, we're going to be looking at all the people who comment and checking out their new moon weeks. Are they sharing their offer on LinkedIn? I'll be watching. Because LinkedIn is just one tool of many, of course, right? But when you're using LinkedIn, merging this with your strategy cycle is so incredibly powerful. When you're just kind of winging it and you're just throwing out sales posts whenever you think you need a sale, or you're just kind of just throwing spaghetti at the wall, it's really difficult. You're just paddling upstream is what it feels like. And so many of my clients come to me, Megan, and it's that's what it feels like. It's fucking exhausting. It's really exhausting. And when you can look at this and be like, hey, it's 4 weeks and the Earth is literally helping me, getting people excited to sell, I can sell right now. And then I get to have that downtime to reflect afterwards. It suddenly becomes so much more energizing. So yes, come back, message me, message Megan. We're both really, really friendly. We're both open to coffee chats as well. So reach out. And thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.